Hey, folks, I muted the line one last time. If you have Internet access, please go to www.oncoach.com/1207. And when you get there, you're going to see a link, Change Your Brain to Change Your Business. Participants, click here. And when you do click on that, it's going to take you to another page. It'll open up another page with a link to a PDF that you can download. You can either right-click it or just click it open. And that right-click is going to give you the PDF for tonight's call. There'll be room there for you to take notes and good information. Also, for joining us on tonight's call, everyone that takes the time to fill out the form that we have right underneath that, it says, don't forget, to be entered in a drawing. We have a complimentary 30 to 45-minute one-on-one business snapshot review. That'll be done with one of the One Coach founders, either John Assaraf or Murray Smith themselves. That's a $2,500 value, folks. Simply sign up for that. We'll actually direct you to where there'll be a business snapshot form to fill out to take a look at your business and just give you a quick overview and an analysis and really make a difference in what you're doing. So if you want to be eligible for that, please fill out the form so you can get the snapshot review form. And that's a $2,500 value. That's yours simply for joining us on tonight's call. Again, if you have Internet access, please go to www.onecoach.com/1207. If you joined us recently on the call, my name is Mike McMahon. I'm with One Coach. And tonight we're going to be talking with John Assaraf, the founder of One Coach. And some of you have probably seen him in The Secret, recently featured on Larry King Live, as well as Ellen DeGeneres, lots of other shows as well. John is best known for vision boards in The Secret. He just has a tremendous experience with the quantum physics, the natural laws of the universe, and just how all that applies to building businesses. And, when it comes to goal setting, John doesn't call it goal setting. He actually has perfected a formula called goal achieving. And we're going to be talking about that tonight and what you need to do to have your most successful year ever for 2007. So, John, are you on the call with us this evening?
Hey, Mike, I am on the call. I just want to do a mic check to make sure that my headset's working.
That's coming in pretty good. It wouldn't hurt if it was a little bit louder.
Okay. How's that?
That's much better.
All right. I guess the headset's going to come off. And, Mike, can you unmute for just 1 second? I just want to hear. I know that we have about 1,500 people who registered. We only had 1,000 lines. So unmute for a second. If you're on the call, just press star so I can hear you.
Star. Hello.
Oh, you're awesome.
Wow.
That's what. Okay. Stop now. That's what about 1,000. All right. That's what about 1,000 people on one bridge sounds like. I just wanted to hear what that's like because I think this sets a record for us at One Coach, and so I want to thank you all for joining us. Mike, if you're ready to let me at it, we're going to go for about 30, 40 minutes or so, and I need you to keep track of my time because I'm just going to let it rip.
Not a problem, and I want to make sure everybody understands one real quick thing. The URL to go to is www.onecoach.com/1207.
Yeah, and that'll give you a PDF, a one-page PDF with 4 points I'm going to cover tonight. That would help you really follow what we're saying. The other thing that I heard Mike say that I want to make sure that you all understand is the complimentary session with either myself or Murray will be for one person that we choose from the 1,000, not all 1,000 of you. We'd be busy from now until 10 years if we worked on each one of your businesses. But one of you, if you go to that link, you can fill out the forms and we'll choose one individual, and maybe we'll be able to help a few more as well. So the topic for tonight, everybody, is called Change Your Brain to Change Your Business. And we're going to get into some of the latest research in science of what does it really take to be great in business. And before I do that, I want to share with everybody that I wasn't and Murray wasn't handed a silver spoon when we were kids. We both had some significant difficulties as kids growing up. I got myself into more trouble than you can shake a stick at, and really believed that because I didn't go to college, I was going to end up with probably a menial job where I couldn't make a lot of money. And fortunately for me, at the age of 19, I had some mentors who really taught me the art of business, of really understanding how to build companies. And so it was a learned experience for me. So I was not, my father was a cab driver. My mother worked at the local Kmart store, and they were great and loving and kind. But as far as business was concerned, they had no idea how to make money. Their best year ever, they made $30,000. And I can share with you that one of the biggest challenges in my household was money, or the lack of it. And I made a decision when I was very young that I wanted to have money, and that I would do whatever it took, even at the cost when I was younger of doing things that weren't legitimate. But fortunately, as I got older, I learned the right way to do it after I was 19. Murray was diagnosed with a learning disability, and they said that he wouldn't amount to much either, and put him in a special school. And his first job, he was working underground by 100 feet cleaning sewers, until he had some people who really helped him see more about his potential than he knew existed. And he went on to build about 14 companies. His last company went from 0 to $75 million in first-year revenues, and from 0 to $200 million in the second year of revenues. And so the question is, what causes one person who may be intelligent, who's working hard, to earn $30 or $50 or $100,000 a year, and another person who it may not be as smart to earn a lot more, 300, 500, a million or two? Well, I can share with you, I've been studying universal laws, as Mike suggested before, which we won't really get into today, but they're very, very important. We're going to talk today about the brain, and really what responsibility does your brain have in making money, in building a company, in really making the money that you want to make so you can live the life you want to live. Now, I'd like everybody to do one thing. I'd like you to write down the answer to this. What was your goal 11 and a half months ago? 11 and a half months ago, when you started this year, 2006, what was your financial goal? Write that down. And then the next question I want to ask you is, what did you achieve? What did you actually achieve versus what your goal was? First and foremost, if you didn't have a goal, that's a problem. But if you did have a goal, most people, 95, 96% of people, never reach their goals if they really stretched themselves and put a goal down that they really wanted to achieve. Most people write down goals based on what they think they can achieve based on past performance and based on their belief about themselves and what's possible. And then they add a little bit extra for risk. And so what it's costing you in your life and in your business right now is the difference between your goal and the actual, or the difference between where you are and where you want to be next year. And I can share with you without any question in my mind that it's your brain that's responsible for that, and I'll explain why on this call. Now, there's a great article in the October issue of Fortune magazine that's titled What It Takes to Be Great, and it talks about what it takes to achieve greatness is an enormous amount of hard work and not a talent or a skill. A talent or a skill can be acquired. And so people who do great in business are doing so because they are improving on a consistent basis. And the way we grow up, most of us learn very, very quickly at first and then more slowly as we get older, and then we actually stop developing completely. And that's the worst thing that you can do, especially now that we know something about the brain that we didn't know just 5 or 6 years ago, and that is your brain continues to grow and it continues to make these neural connections or patterns in the brain that are responsible for how quickly you understand something, and more importantly, how quickly you actually act. Now, your brain is responsible for your income and revenues, and why is that? Number one, what you see, your brain is responsible for. Okay, what you perceive, your brain is responsible for. What you think about, your brain is responsible. And what you consistently do, okay, is all the responsibility of your brain. So the question is, what am I seeing? What am I perceiving? What am I thinking about? And what am I doing? Here's what we have found. And we work at One Coach with business owners from all over the world, in every type of business. And here's what we found. The people who are making $30 or $50 or $100,000 a year don't think about the same things that the people, our clients, are making $300 or $500 or $1 million a year. And they absolutely are not doing the same things every single day. They're doing different things. So each one of us has the same amount of time in a day, but we're thinking about things differently, and we're doing things differently, which is yielding our results. And so the question that we always pose is, why are you, each one of you on the call, why aren't you already doing the things that you know you should be doing every day that would help you become more successful? Why aren't you doing it? You know what you could be doing to be more successful. You know how you can stop wasting some time doing some of the tedious things that you do, but you don't do it. So one of the things we'll talk about is why you're not doing the things that you already know you should be doing. The other thing that we have found is that a lot of business owners just don't know what to do. What should they be investing their time in? So what are the specialized skills or the knowledge that you need to acquire, okay, and then go about deliberately doing what you need to do? One of the researchers that came out by, it was a landmark paper by Erickson in 1993, the first major conclusion they came up with was that nobody would be great without working hard, and that it took about 10 years of whether it was chess or business or playing a musical instrument or any type of other music to become great at something. Only if one thing occurred, and that one thing was deliberate, perfect practice. Deliberate, perfect practice. And so if you are wondering why you keep doing the same things over and over again, that's because of your genetics and your childhood programming. And that really leads me into the second part of why your genetics and childhood programming are limiting your success. We work with clients on two things and two major things. There's a lot of companies that work on strategies and tactics, and those are great, but for the most part, they're absolutely useless because they're just information. If it was about information, every librarian would be a billionaire. It's the application of the right information that yields the results. So we have to look at the individual, you. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why aren't you doing the things you know you should be doing? So everything that we work on works on the individual and their business. So here's some statistics for you. From a genetic perspective, 50% of your propensities, or 50% of what you think about and what you do every day, is a result of your parents, your grandparents, and your lineage or your heritage. So that leaves the question of where does the other 50% come from? Well, the other 50% comes from your parents who now raise you after you're genetically like them, your teachers from school, the kids you hung around with, your siblings, your ministers, rabbis, etc. So we become programmed based on our environment and the people that we hung around and our experiences on top of genetics. So why is that important? What is even programming or conditioning when we talk about that? If you think about anybody on this call, you, okay, what did you know when you were born about building a company? What did you know about your leadership skills, about your marketing skills, about your sales skills? Absolutely nothing. You may have been genetically programmed somewhat, okay, for some great attributes thereabouts, but then the rest you learned. What we have found, there's something called neuroplasticity in brain research now that says every time we have an experience, every time we meet with somebody, every time we read a book, every time we watch a television program, we are actually creating patterns in the brain that once they are created, they become a belief. Once we have a belief that's reinforced over and over again through either, again, the parents, the teachers, or our own experiences, it becomes a habit. Now, a habit and a belief is nothing more than a pattern in the brain that's been reinforced either through programming or through genetics. Now, the good news is that we now know how to stop the habits and the belief patterns that don't serve you as a business owner trying to grow your business. We can help you stop the beliefs about yourself that may think that you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're not this enough or that enough, which I know I had to overcome and Murray had to overcome. And we know how to instill a belief and a new habit through a process that we created called the neural reconditioning process using the latest brain research of how do we get the brain or the cells in the brain to create the connections faster than at any other time possible in our human species evolvement or evolution. And so a belief and a habit is nothing more than a pattern that causes you to see, it causes you to perceive, and it causes you to think about and to do everything that matches up with the pattern that's in the brain. In essence, it's the equivalent of a software program on a computer. And we know that a software program can only do what it's programmed to do. Nothing less, nothing more. In this realm, what we found out about the brain is that once you are conditioned or once you have a mental program for making a certain amount of money or generating a certain amount of revenue for your business, your brain will shut out, absolutely drop from its field of consciousness through something called scotomas, which means blind spot in Greek. It'll drop from your field of consciousness anything that doesn't match up with your current thinking patterns in your brain, your current patterns in your brain. So even though there are opportunities for you to double or triple or quadruple your income right now, your brain's responsibility is to drop all excess information that doesn't match up with what you're already conditioned to achieve. That is why this year for most of you looked pretty much like last year as far as how much you earned and what you did. And unless you change your brain, the patterns in the brain that cause you to think and act in certain ways, you will never, and I will repeat this, you will never, for 99.9% of you, achieve the level of success that your desires, have. Now, why do I say that? Well, we know again from the brain research we've done that desires, are a part of the brain called the conscious part of the brain. So we can have these dreams and desires, and we can set these goals, to achieve 100 or 500 or a million or 10 million or $100 million in revenue. It doesn't matter. Desires happen in one part of the brain, but the actual achievement of those desires happens in a different part of the brain. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And so let me share a story with you. We have, in one of my companies, I have just under 1,600 salespeople. And fortunately, the average person in that company makes about $128,000 in commissions a year. And we pay over $125, $130 million every year in commissions. And so my question always is, how is it possible that we could bring in great teachers, we could bring in great books, great CDs, which all of you probably got great libraries filled with, and everybody could nod their head, write great goals down, and not achieve any more success or 2 months or 3 months than they had before? Well, with the brain research that we've done, what we realized is that we all like the feeling of listening to books, but we don't take action because we are not conditioned to take action after we learn something. There's an implicit memory system and an explicit memory system in the brain, and one is responsible for really gathering the information and having a general knowledge about it. The other is really responsible for making sure that we take action. So if we don't retrain our brain, relearn some of the things that we don't know, and then get ourselves to do the things that we should be doing anyway, pretty much what's going to happen is we set goals and we will never achieve them. And so how do you determine, and by the way, over a period of 6 months, we took 75 of our independent contractor real estate agents, and we worked with them for 6 months on retraining their brain, on having them set goals properly, and on having them go through the neural reconditioning process, which we taught them. The other thing that we won't talk about tonight that is critically important is really understanding how the thought patterns of your brain affect every vibration in your body, and that frequency that every cell emits really taps into the quantum field where everything happens anyway. But after 6 months of working with these individuals, 75 people's revenue went up, sales revenue went up by $100 million. $100 million. And here's what I can share with you. It takes about 7 to 15 minutes a day at the low end to start retraining the brain. And it takes about 30 minutes to an hour, on the high end, if somebody wants to really accelerate the brain part of what we teach at One Coach. And there's about 7 different steps that we use. Affirmations are one of them, and they have to be written in the right way. Doing visualization techniques are very, very important. They've got to be done in the right way as well. There's also some technology that we use that really helps us accelerate the learning patterns and the thinking patterns that somebody has to have in order to achieve more revenues and more business. We know that millionaires don't think the same way that people who are not millionaires think. They don't have the same brain frequency patterns. And again, the latest research suggests that we have 4 different brainwave frequencies. Most of the day, people are in a beta state, B-E-T-A, beta state of frequency. That is a great frequency for talking, for listening, for having some very light focus, but it is not the best frequency for your brain to go into an accelerated learning state or an accelerated behavioral state. And so in order for us to start changing some of the patterns in the brain, reading about it is not enough. Listening to a CD is not enough. Seeing it on TV is not enough, or going to a seminar is not enough. In the past, that's all we knew. But in the last 5 or 6 years, the research we've got about the brain, about how it works, and how we can retrain, recondition our brain is so much more advanced than what we knew before. We can actually accelerate it at lightning speeds compared to what we knew before. It takes some time. So if you're listening to other people's programs and other people's promises that say, hey, we can help you change in an instant, that's a bunch of crap. Most people will never change in an instant unless there's a significant emotional experience that causes them to. And that happens when there's a lot of trauma in somebody's life, and we don't want any of you to experience that. Most people will only make changes when things are really traumatic in their life, and I hope that nobody on this call has got that happening to them right now, because that's a forced behavioral pattern that you don't want to have happen if you can avoid it. So here's what I'd like you all to do right now. Number one, hopefully you've gone to www.onecoach.com/1207, and you're looking at the same document that we want you to look at. That's a PDF file that you can download and look online. But here's what I'd like you to write down right now. Write down an R. Any piece of paper, just write down an R. All right? And R is going to represent your results. The results for the amount of income you've made this year, or the results for the amount of revenue you've made this year for your company, in your company. If you want to know what beliefs you have right now, all you have to do is look at your results. See, the results that you have achieved this year will tell you what you've been thinking about and what you have been doing the whole year. Usually at the end of December, we take a look at our results and we say, hey, did I achieve the results I wanted in my health, in my wealth, in my business, in my relationships, in my spiritual connectivity? If you want to know what you are conditioned to achieve, and this is not good or bad, by the way, everybody, this is just a result. But the result is the end game. That's the only way we can measure what has happened prior, okay, to any result. Our beliefs and our habits are the patterns in the brain that causes the automatic thinking, that cause the automatic perceptions, and more importantly, they cause the automatic behaviors every single day. And your thinking and your perceptions and your behaviors, one day plus another day plus a week plus a month, will end up with your results today. And so, excuse me, if you are not satisfied with the results that you've had, I can tell you this without a shadow of a doubt. We can stand here or sit here or have you listen to the best strategies in the world for you to grow your business tonight. We could teach you marketing. We could teach you sales. We could teach you negotiations. We could teach you absolutely everything you needed to know about growing your business. And I guarantee you, 99% of you will not have a change in your income next year, because it's not about information. Information in and of itself is absolutely useless. We are laden right now in an information society, and we are stuck in a doom loop that if we don't get out of, if you don't get out of, you will not achieve the success you want to achieve. Now, I hope I'm not sounding arrogant with this. I want to make sure you understand my passion here, because we finally have the understanding of what it really takes to help people make the changes that they need in order to achieve the new levels of success. We can measure the brainwave frequencies, okay, of multimillionaires and what they think about, and we can match it up against somebody who is not doing very well, and there's a distinct, separate pattern in their brains.
Hey, John.
Yeah, Mike?
Yeah, I hate to interrupt, but I think that our listeners would benefit greatly from a real-life example of exactly what you're talking about. And one of our One Coach clients is on with us, Guy Sohi. Guy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, Guy.
Hi, John.
Oh, I'm glad you joined us. I don't have a clock here in front of me, so I know that you were going to join us. Ladies and gentlemen, Guy Sohi has become a friend, but was a One Coach client for the last year and a half, 2 years. And Guy, in the medical equipment, medical field, is one of the leading experts in the world on risk management for medical device companies. And he joined One Coach. Guy, why don't you tell us the story? And you're a pretty brilliant guy. You've got your PhD. So give him maybe a bit of your background, your story with One Coach and neural reconditioning, and how that's made a difference in your life.
Sure, John. I first got involved with One Coach. It's almost been 2 years ago now, and I had just finished a multi-year project with a medical device company here in California, and I had decided I was going to go back into consulting. And I figured, well, first year back into consulting, maybe if all goes well, maybe I'll gross 100, maybe 150,000 in revenue, and that'll be fine. And then I went to the first One Coach workshop back in February of last year. And I started to apply everything that I learned there, the neural conditioning techniques and the visualizations and everything that you talk about at the One Coach workshop. And I think the 6 months before the workshop, I had made about $90,000 or so. It wasn't that much. The 6 months after the One Coach workshop, I had made $300,000 just in the 6 months after, and I actually went on that year in my business to gross close to, I think it was just over $600,000. So that was roughly, well, let's say 6 times more than what I had thought I could do. But it wasn't just that. As I started consulting and I started getting busy and I started traveling a lot, I realized that I wasn't spending that much time with my family. I was always gone. I was spending maybe an hour a week with my family, and so I decided, hey, I think the next workshop was like 3 months later, and I went to that one again. And the 6 months, the right before the workshop, as I said, I was maybe spending an hour a week with my family. 6 months later, I, again, through neural conditioning and through really applying what I learned there, I totally changed my business around again, and now I was spending a whole lot more time with my family. I was spending like 20 hours a week with my family by using certain processes and by outsourcing certain things that I wasn't all that good at or that weren't natural for me to do. So by then I had really become a true believer in the things that you teach. And since then I've been applying it to many different things. Another example I have is my son. About a year and a half ago, he was struggling in school. He was getting C's, D's, and F's, and I was concerned about that. So I said, well, maybe I'll just get him interested in this process too. And I happen to have a copy of the One Coach Foundation Home Study Program. I gave it to him. He actually went through it. and he actually came to the conclusion himself that he was going to do something. And fast forward a year, right now he is getting nothing but A's and B's in school, and he's doing really great, and he's like a changed person. And again, I can trace it back to just that one thing that he did, to go through the One Coach Foundation Home Study Program. As a result, he got interested in the brain, and that started the ball rolling.
Guy,
yes, John.
Sorry, go. Yeah, Guy, just so you all know, has been a wonderful student that has really applied the information. And that's really the key. It's the application of information. We have hundreds of clients. I think we're going to have another individual join us, Rhonda Luttrell from Vancouver. Guy, and I know that you've got to go, and we've got to move on. So, number one, I want to thank you, Guy. And if anybody wants to talk to Guy, I think you'd be more than welcome to talk to them, wouldn't you, Guy?
Yeah, John, just one real quick example that I think is
Go ahead.
Just blew me away. Back in January, I went for a physical, January of this year, that is. I went for a physical, and my cholesterol happened to be high. It was real high, especially after the holidays. It was over like 320. And my doctor said, well, we're probably going to have to put you on a statin drug like Lipitor or something. I said, no, I really don't want to do that, because I know there's side effects with that. Why don't you give me 6 months, and I'll promise I'll change my ways. And I started doing the affirmations and visualizations and all of that. And next thing you know, a couple of weeks ago, I had another blood test done. My cholesterol was actually down to 182. My bad cholesterol was down, and my good cholesterol was up. And it's just because I was applying the neural reconditioning and changed the way changed my habits and changed the way I was doing things.
I love it, Guy. And we're not teaching health here. We're working with business, but everything we teach is applicable in every area of your life, and that's the fringe benefit. So if I can get everybody to clap for you, Guy, I would. So thank you, my friend, for sharing that, and thanks for taking time out of your schedule.
Thank you, John.
I appreciate it very much. Friends, listen, you got to think about this. Is your brain is responsible for absolutely everything in your body. And I'm going to talk with you right now about the $1 million difference between setting your goals for 2007 and actually achieving your goals. And I don't care what they are. We focus on helping business owners increase their revenues and profits so they can achieve financial freedom and live their extraordinary life, whatever that means to you. But I tell you, if you don't work on the brain, all the strategy and tactics in the world won't work. You could be writing your goals down from now till eternity, and nothing will happen. And here is why. Here is the Holy Grail information. What we have found about the brain through brain scan imaging is that there's two parts of the brain. You've all known this. There's the conscious part and the subconscious part. But up until recently, most people really haven't known what the responsibilities are of those two parts of our brain. And yes, the conscious mind's got several intellectual functions. We're not going to get into that tonight. That's part of what we teach. And your subconscious mind's got three main functions. But here is what we did find out. About 17% of the actual mass, of your brain is responsible for all of your conscious thinking and all your conscious activities and your desires, the stuff that you desire, the stuff you dream about, the stuff that you write down, the stuff that you promise yourself you'll do tomorrow, but you never do. The weight you promise you're going to gain or lose, not gain, and don't lose. The more the business that you're going to attract and the business you're going to generate, but you don't generate. Here's what we've found out. That 17% of your brain that chooses or has the desires is only responsible for 2 to 4%. 2 to 4% of your actual behaviors and results. So your conscious mind, your desires, your conscious mind is only responsible for 2 to 4% of your actual results. There's the other part of your brain, your non-conscious or subconscious, which comprises of 83% of your brain's mass. That 83%, that part of you right now that's giving you life, that's letting you hear what we're talking about, letting you take the notes, that's digesting your food, that's popping 10 million new blood cells every second, creating 10 million new ones while 10 million die off, growing your hair, having your lungs do what they do. That brilliant side of you, that genius side of you, the one that controls your habits, the one that controls what you see, the one that controls what you do, is responsible for 96 to 98% now. 96 to 98% of your results are non-conscious or your subconscious's responsibility. And so if you write goals down, that's great, and they have to be written in a very specific way. And then you've got to obviously have the strategy and tactics to achieve your goals. But if you do not make it part of the subconscious mind where your universal intelligence is hooked up to, where your perception is hooked up to, where your habits are hooked up to, where your behaviors come from, you will never achieve your goals. So we have to understand, you have to understand, how do I take my goals and how do I impress them into the subconscious part of my brain? How do I retrain my brain to do things I didn't do before? How do I train my brain to take the best strategies and tactics, which we can find on the internet for that matter, and impress them into the part of the brain that causes 96 to 98% of what I think about, what I see, and what I do every single day? See, that's the difference. When Murray and I went back and looked at our own lives and looked at the lives of our clients, of what happened to cause them to really make the changes, it was we were working on the part of the brain that's responsible for us doing and thinking about what we think about and do most of the day. And so if you are not thinking about building $1 million business every day or a multi-million-dollar business, and you don't have the right information in the right order, all you're going to have are a lot of thoughts that are part of your desires, and those are going to be random thoughts, but you will act and behave the way you're conditioned to act and behave this month, next month, the month after that. Last week when I was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, I had a chance to talk with Minnie Driver, one of the actresses that I think she was in Good Will Hunting, and so we were talking about what she goes through when she gets a brand new script. And when she gets a brand new script, you know, she just looks at it and sees whether she likes it or not, and that's part of her desires. Does she desire to do it or not? But what it takes for her to take that script and to become the part takes months and months of rehearse and training. And when I shared with her the neural reconditioning process, she said, John, if you wanted to work just in Hollywood, you would own all of Hollywood because everybody would come to you. I said, well, maybe we should talk. And we actually have started a dialogue. But you have to take that information. You have to take the new beliefs that you have to have about yourself and about what is possible and impress them into the non-conscious mind. And you have to take the new habits, the behaviors, the right behaviors of what you need to be doing every day as a business owner, whether you're a solopreneur or you have a small company. There are behaviors that you need to take every single day. In January, for example, we're working with all of our clients in One Coach from around the world on a program to help them multiply their effectiveness over 2006 by 16 times. And the reason we say 16 times is we know that your highest income and highest impact producing activities are 16 times more worthy or more valuable to you than all of the menial, tedious tasks that you do on a daily basis. And so, Mike, with that, I'm going to ask people to do one thing. And can you unmute everybody for just 1 second? And everybody, I just need you to be quiet. I just need you to do one thing. If you've had a chance to pull up, if you've had a chance to pull up the PDF file with the FedEx logo in front of you, I just hit your star button for one time. Okay. Say, Mike, mute us. Okay, here's something that some of you may have seen before, and others may not have seen. If you've watched me on Ellen DeGeneres, I had this on, so this won't be new to you. But here's what I'd like to suggest. Your brain looks in the external world. Your brain's responsible really for a couple of things. The number one thing your brain's responsible for is to make sure that you stay alive. The number 2 thing that your brain is responsible for, that it'll do anything to make sure of, it'll sabotage your success even, is it will make sure that your external world, your surroundings, your bank account, your business revenues match up with the image you have currently in your brain. Not what you're capable of, but it makes sure that your surroundings and your results match up with what the current patterns in the brain are. That's why a lot of people can get frustrated of having these desires and not have the results, because there's one part of you that has these grandiose and great desires for your retirement, for great business, for a nice car, for a nice home, but the results don't match up. And the results don't match up because the image in the mind, in the non-conscious mind, isn't there yet. I'd like you all to take a look at the FedEx logo for just a moment and ask yourself a question. Do you see the arrow in the FedEx logo? Now, here's what I can share with you. Some of you will say, well, yeah, I see it, and that's okay. But I can share with you that 50 to 70% of the people that are on this call tonight have never seen the arrow in the FedEx logo. I have taken FedEx drivers out of their truck, and I've asked them, do you see the arrow in the FedEx logo? And I can tell you 80 to 90% of them so far have never seen the arrow in the FedEx logo. And the reason that you don't see the arrow, if you don't, is because your brain has never been wired or conditioned to see the arrow. For everybody who's listening right now, look between the E and the X at the white arrow. Between the E and the X, there's a white arrow. Now the question, for those of you who didn't see it, is how come you didn't see it? And the answer is, you're not conditioned to see it. You're not conditioned to certain behaviors every day to achieve more revenue. You're not conditioned to make 2 or 3 or 4 times more money than you're making right now. Your level of awareness, okay, is right at what your income or revenues are right now. And until you change the level of awareness that you have, and you change the brain patterns that you have, and you change some of the strategies and tactics that you have, you will never be able to see the arrow. You'll never be able to see more than you're seeing right now or achieve it. Now, there are those of you who are saying, well, I saw the arrow, or I knew the arrow was there. That's okay. The point isn't about the arrow. The point is that your brains don't see other things that are right there in front of you that can help you with your success. And so this call was scheduled for about 30 minutes. I think I'm about 30 or 35 minutes. I think we've got Rhonda Luttrell on with us.
That's right.
Hey, Rhonda. How are you, dear?
Oh, just great. How are you, John?
I'm doing great. Now, Rhonda, you've got your MBA. Where did you get your MBA at? Master's of Business Administration?
Asian Pacific International.
Asian Pacific International. And you live in Vancouver, British Columbia, right?
That's right.
And you are the president of CASA. I want you to tell me what CASA is.
CASA is the Canadian Academy of Senior Advisors, and we train professionals about the unique needs of seniors as they go through the aging process so that they're more effective and credible with this really remarkable population.
Wonderful. And Rhonda, how long have you been a client of One Coach on our Business Mastery program?
Gosh, just over a year now.
Why don't you maybe, if you can share with everybody your experience in your own words of where were you before, what did you learn, and what differences One Coach made in your business and your life?
Well, it's been absolutely amazing. Since working with One Coach in just over a year now, first of all, we increased our revenues and our registrations by over 400%. That's amazing. We reworked our business structure into a form that was more equitable for everyone. As a group, we've clarified our vision, with each of us now applying the neural reconditioning process to manifest our shared business objectives. And personally, a big change for me, as you know, when we first started working with One Coach, I wasn't taking a salary. We were putting money into the business, not drawing anything out. I immediately started to take a salary for myself and my husband, who works in the business as well. Not only that, I've given myself a 66% raise, and we're on track for doing some remarkable things this year as well.
Right. And one of your goals was to put at least 100 people into your workshops at, what is it, $1,200 per head?
Just under $1,500.
$1,500 per head. And how many people did you put into your workshop last month?
Well, John,
or the month before?
Well, we started with one coach. We averaged about 25 to 30 registrations a month, and exactly 12 months later, we had a stellar month of 133.
So 133 people at $1,500 each. I think everybody on the call can do the math of the difference of where she was and where she is. And Rhonda, what do you attribute that to? What do you really attribute it to?
Well, it's been the combination of both the neuro reconditioning process as well as the good business strategies. We started out identifying exactly where we were at, and it was very revealing for me to see where we were at, what beliefs I must be holding to be able to create that particular reality. We then went on to identify where we wanted to be and the beliefs that were necessary to create that reality, and went about changing that on a systematic way using your neuro reconditioning program with that. Then applying the business strategies. You talk about doing the right things in the right order in the right way, and we applied that in an ongoing way. When you look at the revenue generating suggestions that you give, first of all, by more dollars through existing sales, we reformatted how we offer the services that we do. And as a matter of fact, we need 1/4. I was working it out today, John. We need 1/4 of the clients per class to break even compared to how we were doing it before. I mean, it's just amazing. So the profit margins we have now, just with that one suggestion, have literally turned the whole company around. More sales from existing clients. We're offering new different types of programs, better serving our client needs, our professional needs. And with more clients, as I said, when you're increasing your registrations by 400%, your revenues just go to the roof.
Rhonda, you're not the same woman talking about business as you were a year ago. That I can tell you.
No, it's true. And, I was sharing with some friends of ours that, we came from a background. My background was in program development, but certainly not in business. And I have to tell you, I immersed myself in everything that One Coach has to offer. And I think what it has done for me is helped to create a different paradigm, a different viewpoint. When I'm working quietly, I'll just put on some of the archived interviews over and over and over again. And it's getting to be, John, that I can almost anticipate an answer that you'll give to a question. Because I want to so immerse myself in the new way of thinking, because it does make a difference.
Absolutely. Rhonda, I want to thank you. And I want to leave people with this. I said the reason Marie and I built One Coach and are building One Coach into a worldwide company is to help entrepreneurs, small business owners, and professionals grow their businesses. And we'll teach you what you don't know, and we'll help you apply what you do know, and more importantly, we'll help you retrain your brain so that you can reach any level of success that you want. And it's going to go back to, what you don't know is hurting you right now. And if you think that just gathering more information is going to be doing it, I can promise you, you'll be doing it for the rest of your life. It's not about gathering more information. It's about once and for all making a commitment to applying the right information. And what we have done is we've got the best information on the planet so that you can apply it. We don't offer a program that says, listen, come and work with us for a day or two or three, and your life will miraculously change. We have had some phenomenal successes, that people have told us about within a few days, but that's not what we are. Success takes a little bit of time. It takes elbow grease. It takes having the right information in the right order, and it takes the right support team. And we're used to building world-class companies, and that's what we're doing with One Coach. And the only way we know how to do it is to help you work on yourself and your business simultaneously and give you the right support you need to make sure that you have a community and environment of people that are also committed to their businesses. And so if you're interested in our One Coach Business Mastery Program, we're not a, $97 and you get 1,200 Ginzu knives. That's not what we're about. We're a professional organization for smart, sharp business people that want to be surrounded by other smart, sharp business people who are committed to their own successes. And so if that's of interest to you and you want to be surrounded by that and you want to learn and grow and really live the life that you want to live, then I highly recommend you check out our Business Mastery Program and make 2007 your absolute best year ever. Mike, I'll give the mic back to you.
So much, John. That's amazing information, and I know that it is life-changing because we get to watch it and experience it every day with our clients. And for those of you that are not that familiar with One Coach, like John said, visit our website. Go to www.onecoach.com Take advantage of the opportunity to be entered into a drawing for a one-on-one business snapshot review with either John or Murray, and fill that information out. Be sure to visit with us. Pay attention to your emails that we send out, because we will be doing more calls along these lines, and we want to share a lot of information so that 2007 is absolutely your most incredible year ever. And we really appreciate you taking the time to join us this evening. And, if you have any questions about the Business Mastery Program, you can email those questions to us at questions, that's plural, questions@onecoach.com. So I'll give that to you again. That's questions@onecoach.com. And, you know what? I have just a little bit of time this evening. I can take a couple of questions before we end the call by 6, and I appreciate you hanging on the call. I know we went a little longer than anticipated, but you know what? The information is so incredible. It's always worth the extra minutes it takes to be able to let John share from his heart. John, thank you very, very much. So I'm going to unmute the I appreciate it. I'm going to unmute the line. So if anyone has a particular question, we can take one or two real quickly. Actually, if you hit *0, I'm not 100% sure if we have the operator moderating the line. Operator, are you with us? That would be a no. So actually,
it's going to be hard for you, Mike, to
there's so many people on the call. Email to questions@onecoach.com. John, that's just an incredible call, and look forward to more information along that same line going forward.
Our passion, and Murray and I have made a commitment that in this part of our life, we've both made millions of dollars. We've helped other people make millions of dollars. And our stated goal, is to help 1 million entrepreneurs around the world achieve financial freedom by helping them build their business. And that will give them the opportunity and the real ability to live the extraordinary life that I know that everybody can. Every single person on this call, when you learn about your brain, you learn about what your potential is, you'll understand when we say you're a genius, we understand what we're talking about. And we want to help you really uncover that genius. And that's why everybody has the desire. You have these dreams and desires because it's within you, and it wants to express itself in a way that that you've never done before. So that's what we want to do.
Well, thank you very much. Hey, I'm going to unmute the line and give everybody a chance to say goodbye. I know I had mentioned I'd take some questions, but with the 1,000 people on the line, that's not going to work out. It's really just impossible to moderate since we don't have the operator with us. So if you have a question about tonight's information or about the Business Mastery Program, again, just email it to questions@onecoach. And don't forget to go to onecoach.com/1207 for the ability to get entered into the drawing for a one-on-one snapshot business review with either John or Murray. It can change your business. That's a $2,500 value. Yes, John.
Did you want to talk to people what the investment is to join One Coach if they wanted to?
Absolutely, sure. It's a great question. You know, One Coach is ridiculously priced at only $3,000 for the entire year. And I say ridiculously because there are so many things that go in with One Coach. John and Murray actually host an Ask the Experts call every single week for 60 to 90 minutes where you have an ability to participate in a group call as a member and literally pick their brains about the things your business needs or you personally need. And, so imagine what it's like to have John Assaraf or Murray Smith, guys that have built 17 multi-million-dollar companies, on your team, literally part of your mastermind. And then we also have upcoming in February, and this is something we do quarterly for our Business Mastery members, we actually have a 3-day conference. It's a foundation and fundamentals where we work on you and your business, and we take you through the materials. And this is a live conference where you get the opportunity to network with like-minded entrepreneurs, and you get completely grounded in the fundamentals of your business and you. So you really understand how to apply the quantum physics, the goal achieving John is specifically talking about, and how to understand the universal laws and how you fit with those so you can line all of that up, and you can take your business to a level you just, previous to now, never thought of before. It makes all the difference in the world when we have those lined up. And then our Business Mastery members also have access to 2 business conferences every year. Those are 2-day conferences. We do them in the spring and in the fall. And, this is, again, the opportunity to network with like-minded entrepreneurs and business owners And one of the things that we teach in our business conferences is a function called SNAP. It's super networking. And you have literally the opportunity to meet with everyone there and find out what their greatest benefit to you is, as well as them finding out what your benefit is. And each one of you can share your greatest need. So you can literally solve problems and make business connections at the conference.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
While you were telling me about the Business Mastery Program, what I'm going to suggest is, if you're interested in the Business Mastery, which I hope everybody is, go to onecoach.com/1207, and all the details are there. And what I want to use this time for is I got the operator on the line, and they're able to let a few people ask questions. So if you have questions and you don't need to go, if you need to go, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you at one of our events or on our calls or in one of our mastermind or networking sessions. But if you can stay and you want to hear a few questions and possibly get yours answered, what I'm going to do is have everybody press *0 who has a question, and we'll answer a few of them, and then we'll say goodnight to those of you who need to go beddy bye. We've got people from all over the world on the call, and I want to thank you all personally. And so, Mike, let's take a few questions.
Absolutely. So hit *0 if you're ready for a question. Operator, do we have any questions queued up at the moment? I'll take that.
Okay.
Do we have some?
Yes. Okay, our first question's coming from Victoria. Victoria, please state your question.
Hi. My question is on the brain reprogramming and looking at your results. My husband and I have been doing a lot of work at changing the brain patterns over the last few months. Not definitely in as organized a way, but we've been working with Abraham, with some Millionaire Mind stuff, and a lot of other things trying to work on these patterns. So I'm not sure where I am. How can you get shifted around all that? How can you tell what's different in your programming?
Well, the only way to tell what's different is to ask yourself, are you doing things differently this month than you were 2 or 3 months ago, and have your results changed? The best way to measure whether anything is working is by looking at the current results, right?
Correct.
And so we've created a process, and this is a process that's just worked for me and for our team and for the people that have been using it, that really takes a deep understanding in neuroscience and say, what are the different ways to get into the subconscious part of the brain? And can we come at it from a variety of different angles so that we're using auditory, kinesthetic, visual, written technology all combined so that we really bombard the subconscious? And there's nobody on the planet doing that. There are people doing components of that, and some of it's really well done and others is terrible. And so I'm not sure what you're doing, but the best way that you can determine whether what you're doing is working is results. That's the best way.
Right. Got it.
All right?
Thanks.
Thanks for your question. Great question.
Absolutely. Operator, do we have another question?
Okay, our next question's coming from Maria. Maria, please state your question.
Hi, John.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, John. I have a question in regards to your visual boards.
Yeah.
Because I saw you on The Secret and whatnot, and I guess my whole thing is it just a matter of putting everything into place on the visual board? You know, like you're saying, the big car, the house, whatever it is that you're looking for to succeed in your business. Like, what is it that we're supposed to be looking at putting together? Like, is it just the visualization? Is it positive thinking? That's what I'm just trying to understand.
Okay, it's a combination of 7 or 8 different things, but I'll address the vision board specifically. The reason for the vision board and the reason we start with a vision to begin with any company is if you think about the universe, okay, the universe works by exact precision and law. There isn't one electron that's out of place. And the universe works maximally efficiently just in time every time. And so number one, when we start with the right image in our brain, we're actually creating a picture for the universe to fill, almost like we're creating the clay and the universe is shaping it. And so when we have a vision, we are setting up the vibration of the body, the frequency that your body needs to be in. There's 100 trillion cells in your body. When you hold on to a vision, then you are activating every single cell in your body. But here's the problem. The place that we have the vision, our visual cortex in the brain, is great, but most people lose focus 6 to 10 times every single minute. And so how do you teach people how to maintain their focus so that they stay in the right vibration? That's one of the things that we do better than anybody else in the world. The reason for the vision boards, we work with companies and we teach them how to create vision boards for their companies, for their different departments. The reason for the vision boards is to help people maintain the focus of what it is that they want, because most people are programmed in such a way that they think about what they don't want more often than they think about what they do want. So the vision board is just one reminder. You could do the same thing on your computer and have a vision board on your computer or in a notebook. And so the vision board is one small part of what is a reminder to the brain of what it is that you want.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Great question. Operator, do we have another one?
Next question's coming from Marcius. Marcius, please state your question.
Hi, Marcia.
Marcius?
It's actually Marcellus.
Marcellus, like Winston Marcellus.
Hey, nice to speak with you, John. My question is, how effective is your organization able to work with a client via phone and email as far as in accomplishing these goals and moving forward as far as in the direction they would like to see themselves?
Well, a lot of the work that we do is by telephone, by email, by telephone calls like this. We do live events 6 times a year. What we've realized is there are different people around the world, obviously, that learn differently, that apply differently, and that want things differently. So we have every one of our calls is transcribed. Every one of our calls, we record and transcribe so people can listen to it over and over again. Our conferences are recorded. When we're working with one of our One Coach business advisors, if people want additional services, then most of it's done by telephone and by computer. So very, very effective.
Okay, and based on the database of clients that you currently have, as far as the percentage rate on a scale of 100, where do you guys currently stand?
I don't understand your question. Where do we stand on a scale of 100 compared to what?
On a scale of 100%, based on your current database of clients, what's the success rate as far as in seeing the difference?
The success rate's 100% for the people who apply what we teach them. And success rate diminishes significantly for people who keep gathering information. The information that we provide you and the systems and processes we provide you, I'll guarantee, if you apply it. But if you don't apply it, I don't care what it is, I don't care what program it is, you can't blame it on the program. If I gave you a Mercedes-Benz or a Rolls-Royce right now, and you drove it into a ditch, where's the problem? It's not in the car. We have used this, I've used it personally, and Murray's used it to build 17 multi-million-dollar companies from scratch to as much as $2.5 billion in market cap. One other company, we have $5 billion a year in sales that I currently still own. So it's not a function of how successful is what we teach. It's how successful everybody on this call wants to be, and that's going to be determined on are you interested or are you committed. And here's the difference. If you are interested, you're going to do what's convenient, and you come up with every excuse in the book. If you are committed, you'll say, by golly, 2007 is the year that I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to hire one coach to help me, to give me the support and the tools that I need, and I'm going to hold myself accountable, or I'm going to get myself a one coach to keep me accountable, and you watch your success go right through the roof.
Understand. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent question. Operator, do we have another question?
Next question is coming from Kevin. Kevin, please state your question.
Hi, John. I really appreciate this, and I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank you, Kevin.
I'm 19 years old, and I'm a sophomore in college.
Yep.
And I'm the type of person who really likes to do stuff. I want to get out there and do stuff. So I kind of think school is a waste of time for me.
You and I agree.
Yeah, but right now I don't have a business, and I'm searching for a business idea, and I do know what I want. Like, I want financial freedom, and I kind of want it pretty soon. So what are the steps that I can take and people my age that can take instead of just going to school every day and just, like, dreading?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, when I say I don't like school, I didn't like school because they didn't teach me what I liked, and they forced me to do things that I thought were useless, and I'll still stand by them. They teach you how to memorize. They don't teach you how to really learn and apply. So the first thing for anybody, whether it's Kevin or anybody else who wants to achieve financial freedom, is you've got to start with, what does that look like? What's the vision that you have? Okay, the how comes after the what. So what does financial freedom look like to you? Does that mean making $10,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $1 million? What's your net worth? Then you've got to take a look at, great, what are my skill sets? What are my passions? What do I love to do? For anybody that I know that's a millionaire or a multimillionaire that has financial freedom, most of them, 99% of them, absolutely are passionate and love what they do. And what we now know, again, about the brain and the heart is that when you are passionate, your heart is involved, and your brain is involved, your heart actually emits a magnetic frequency, electromagnetic frequency, that's 100 times more potent than your brain. When you combine the brain and the heart's electromagnetic frequency, you are now setting up a vibration in the universe that's second to none. Then you've got to ask yourself, what are my skills? What is it that I'm really truly gifted in? What are my unique abilities and skills? Then and only then do you say, great, now I'm going to start building a business. And that's a function of, what do you want? What would make you really happy?
I want to help people. That's what I want to do. But I guess that's really vague for now.
Right. You need to be more specific. Again, I'm going to go back to the universe is precise. You need to be precise as well.
Uh-huh.
All right. So clarity is key and king.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin.
Okay.
Thanks
I've got time for one more question, and then I've got to go to my family.
Excellent. Thanks for your time, John. Operator, do we have another question?
Okay, next question is coming from Leah. Leah, please state your question.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, John. I want to know how you start your day.
How do I start my day? I start my day with a big, fat smile, and I start my day thanking God for my health, my children, my spectacular wife, and my family, for all the wealth that He's provided me on a financial, non-financial level, and for the gifts that He has provided me for me to teach and share with people. So I start with gratefulness. Then I go right into a 30 to 40-minute meditation every morning.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Well, listen, folks, this has been fun for me, hopefully fun for you as well. There's nothing that I am more passionate about in the world than helping people. Between Murray and I, we have so much passion for this. We are going to help change the world one person at a time, one business at a time, and we're going to start with you. So I hope to see you and listen to you on one of our next calls. Mike, thanks for hosting a great call. I will chat with you tomorrow.
All right, John, thanks. Enjoy your family. Appreciate your time. Incredible.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We have most of the line is still muted, so I'm going to open the line up, and everybody can say goodbye. Remember, if you have a question, you can email it to questions@onebook.com, and don't forget to...
Bye. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night, Lou.
Call.
Bye.